Guys, we need to talk about Solana, why it's doing well, and why it continues to do well. A lot of it does have to do with Ethereum, so we got to go over the Denkin upgrade. Yes, it did reduce fees for L2s, but the main problem is it didn't do anything to L1s, and most of the issues and complaints about Ethereum were on the L1s. Now, some of you are thinking, why don't you just use L2s? There's a problem. A lot of the coins are only on the L1s. They're not on the L2s. A lot of the legacy projects, as well as even a lot of the newer projects, they're not on Polygon, Base, Arbitrum, or Optimism. They're actually just on Ethereum. At this point, I'm basically just refusing to buy any ERC20 coin because of the cost. If I see that they're on Polygon, okay, I'll go ahead and buy them because the transaction fees don't really come through. If I have to bridge from Polygon to regular Ethereum, not buying it. And I think a lot of people are at that mindset because it just is ridiculous how expensive it is. And people are going to trying to find ways out, and they're going to want like an ecosystem. After experiencing Ethereum, they're going to want an ecosystem where the L1's just not that cheap to use if they want to bridge from one thing to another. Like the cheapest I've seen the Ethereum fees is basically $10. I logged on to Atomic this morning, tried to move my HOT. Oh, I need $10 in Atomic network fees. That is the cheapest I've actually seen it in a while. I'm sure if you do like 4 in the morning, you can probably get it cheaper. But I'm not going to wake up 4 in the morning just to do a transaction. So kind of unreasonable there. So the thing about the Solana thing is Solana's the next one in the list. And since people are tired of using Ethereum, they're looking for something else. They're going to try to find something that has enough liquidity, that has smart contracts, that has a DeFi ecosystem and has a lot of apps and or easy ways to mint and create coins, NFTs, stuff like that, for them to do this activity on. That's going to be especially true as the bull run really comes around. And there's the same thing for DeFi. They also don't want to use Ethereum DeFi. Not at all, because Ethereum DeFi, swaps on Ethereum, cost more than just regular transactions. A regular transaction might cost $20. A swap's going to cost $50. And if you want to mint NFTs, it's going to be over $100. So all of that stuff is going to move somewhere else. And that represents a good chunk of the network activity on Ethereum. So they're going to go to Solana because XRP doesn't have smart contracts, so that's going to give some issues. Even when they get AMMs, they can't auto rebalance because they lack smart contracts. Cardano doesn't have the liquidity, and a lot of the other chains are just too small right now. I think a protocol like HBAR would be great if people would actually move to it, but there's no liquidity there, so they're going to go to Solana. Some of you are saying Solana goes down all the time. That's not entirely true. It went down once in the last year. But here's the thing, it's up 99.9% of the time. And as I've said before on other videos, most people would rather have a network that's up 99.9% of the time and is very cheap all the time, rather than a network that is up 100% of the time and expensive all the time. And like I said, the layer 2 argument doesn't really work all that well because there's a lot of stuff still on layer 1 and there's going to be stuff that continues to be on layer 1. The problem with Ethereum is it's losing all the new users to Solana. I mean, Solana has actually been going up as the rest of the market's pulling back. And I think that's because Solana's getting new users with the airdrops and also with just a lot of Ethereum refugees. A lot of people on my chat just refuse to buy ERC altogether, and they're not the only ones. I've seen on Twitter that there's a ton of people that just refuse to work with ERC at all at this point. And yeah, you can get some of the bigger investors, but the retail investors, which actually represent a lot of the market in the bull run, is just not going to use Ethereum. And so you're going to lose a lot of the bull run potential. And because crypto is very heavily buried in speculation, you're also going to lose a lot of the potential profits there. So that's going to attract even more people to Solana, whether they're speculating, wanting to use DeFi, or other things. Now, Solana's not going to be used for enterprise that much unless they really fix their problem and they can show several years without the network going down. But here's the thing, Ethereum doesn't really have that much industrial use anyways, at least not the public version of Ethereum, which is what everyone's invested in. Most of the usage of Ethereum is basically private versions, white label versions of Ethereum. Yeah, they have EVMs, but it doesn't really affect Ethereum price, and it doesn't use the crypto, first of all. The whole mBridge thing, that's not even really a white label version of Ethereum. That is basically another blockchain built from Solidity, which isn't the same project. They have an EVM, but so does Solana and everything else. And that really doesn't help the price of Ethereum all that much. Ethereum's price basically thrived in the last bull run because they were the first ones to get DeFi out and they got a huge lead on everyone else. And now all the money is actually trapped in it. But that money is starting to filter into other blockchains, especially Solana. Layer 2s as well, but Solana is definitely gaining a lot of notoriety, especially with like the airdrops, the phone, and also just people coming in because they don't want to pay fees. And that's not a problem that Ethereum can solve because Vitalik basically said Ethereum Layer 1 is basically a beta project that wasn't really supposed to get that big, but it got big, so now they're kind of stuck with it. And when you're using Ethereum, that's exactly what it feels like because transactions take a long time, and sometimes they just outright fail when the network's busy, and they cost a lot of money. And like I said, I mean, the layer 2 thing doesn't work because so much stuff is on layer 1 right now. It's going to take a gargantuan effort to port everything onto layer 2. And then you still have to worry about bridging the layer 2s as well. Whereas Solana, like, yeah, if you want to bridge, it still doesn't cost that much money between like, the different apps and stuff. And base layer Solana, since it's very, very cheap, doesn't have that issue. Cardano is the same way. Cardano is slightly more expensive than Solana. And I do believe Solana works faster than Cardano. But it's within a couple of seconds for Cardano with me as well. And like the maximum fee on Cardano is like 2.1788, which is like $2 right now. Most of the transactions don't cost nearly that much. When I swap, yeah, it takes like a fee of like 4 Cardano, but then it gives like 3.5 back to me once the transaction's complete. And that's still much, much cheaper than when I try to swap with Ethereum. And I don't have to be careful like which app it's on or whatever layer 2 it's on because even like just the layer 1 fees are very, very low. So even if you have to bridge, it's really not that expensive. And there's not a lot of bridging in Cardano and Solana right now. Everyone's just on the base chain. And the base chain can handle several thousand transactions per second on Solana. So like the scaling issue is really not an issue. That's why I think Hedera would actually be a really good option. But the liquidity's got to build there, and the team hasn't really focused that much on building the ecosystem, which is why people are going to Solana. As the bull run comes on, Solana's going to continue to do well because as the bull run gets heavier and heavier, more and more people are going to come into crypto. The Ethereum fees are going to get higher and higher as Ethereum rises. So if the Ethereum price falls, the fee does actually fall, but then it sucks for your investment because Ethereum price is going down. It's because of like the popularity of crypto, the Ethereum fee is going to continue to go up as Bitcoin rises for sure. That means the Ethereum fees are going to like exponentially increase, which means Ethereum's really not made for the common investor. All the common investors are going to come onto Solana. And the Solana DeFi ecosystem is definitely going to boom at that point. And it will take a significant chunk of the market cap away from Ethereum. I mean, a lot of people thumb their noses at meme coins and DeFi and all that stuff, but that, like, DeFi especially is the whole point of crypto. Like, crypto's original purpose was to build a financial system outside the banking system. That's exactly what DeFi is, in case you haven't noticed. It's like crypto's main purpose isn't to be used by big banks and industries. It's to create a separate economic system. That's why Bitcoin was made, and that's why the whole crypto industry basically exists, and that's exactly what DeFi is. You don't need to partner with JP Morgan or Wells Fargo. That wasn't the initial point anyways. It was to make a system where these big institutions don't really have control, power, or influence over it. And there's still a lot of people that stick with their ideal. Now, most people are just in it for the money, but DeFi is the stuff making money anyways. So when you have the double whammy of, hey, it was the original purpose of crypto, and hey, you know what? This is the stuff that's making money anyways, not really the industrial utility or like the big partnerships, you have a win-win situation. Oh, you want to appeal to the idealists? Working with banks is not going to appeal to the idealists. Oh, you want to appeal to the people that want to make money? Yeah, the partnerships aren't doing that right now because they're not actually making any money and they haven't been making money for years. It's the DeFi stuff that's been making money. So you appeal to both sides. So both sides are going to want to buy your coin, and that's how you're going to chip away at the market share of Ethereum because it's basically unusable at this point, at least the layer 1. And the layer 2s don't mitigate the entire problem because there's still a whole lot of stuff on layer 1. Like when I go to MetaMask, when I go to Atomic, and I want to swap like ERC coins, most of them, unfortunately, are still on layer 1. Sometimes I have to bridge from layer 1 to layer 2, and that still costs an arm and a leg. So the problem is still very, very much there for Ethereum, regardless of which upgrades they do, and they can't fix the main problem right now. They've been trying for literally years. They literally gave up on L1 scaling because they just can't do it. and they moved to L2. Now, some of you are saying like, well, L1 scaling doesn't really work on any chain, but I've already explained that before. A lot of the other L1s already have thousands of transactions per second just on their base, so it's not really a problem at this point, and it won't be a problem for a long time. And it doesn't matter because their L1 fees are very cheap anyways. The problem is like you just need to be cheap and good enough in crypto, and most of those other chains are already good and cheap enough in crypto. Ethereum isn't. You can't really fall back on the utility excuse because most of that utility is on private versions of Ethereum, or like Enbridge isn't even really Ethereum at all. They just built it in Solidity, and that's never going to affect Ethereum price or any kind of demand for actual Ethereum. So you're kind of basically stuck in an area with Ethereum where you need the fees to be high to satisfy the validators, but you need the fees to be low to actually get people to actually want to use it. And you need to bridge all of them seamlessly without having to resort to layer one, which is still very, very far from happening. So right now, all those disgruntled people, they're going to filter into Solana. And after using the meme coins, if they want to stay in crypto or want to continue using crypto, they're going to stay in Solana. Because after you play with fees that are very little, you're not going to want to go up back to fees that are like $5, $10, $20. And that's what Ethereum is right now. So that's why I do actually think Solana can reach $500 to $1,000 in this bull run, because it's going to sap so many users from Ethereum, and it's the number one candidate to do so. XRP can't do it. Cardano doesn't have the liquidity, and neither does anything else. Now, if there's a dark horse that suddenly gains a ton of liquidity and has all these features and is fast, I could go for that as well. But right now, Solana is in prime position to do so, and it's positioned itself extremely well during this bull run. So that's why the Solana ecosystem is going up. That's why Solana is going up, and that's why it's going to continue to do well. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.